Hey everybody, Seville here, and today we're going to be doing the raw room from TryHackMe, where we find ourselves in the Wind Corp's internal network and their domain controller, and we have to find our way to pwn the network. This is a pretty challenging room, so if you're looking to level up your Windows exploitation, this was definitely the place for me at least. And unless you have some high level Windows exploitation knowledge, then maybe this was a breeze for you. However, for the few that don't have that level of knowledge, I would definitely recommend this room. It was really fun. And shout out to the box creator Andreas, and I believe they list two others who may have had some contribution to this room as well. So make sure you give them some praise for this really cool room that they've given us, and they're also listed here as well. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that because I don't want to murder your names, so I appreciate you two as well. With that being said, as you can see, I have completed this room, so this is going to be pretty straightforward. We only have to do three things, and that's find flag 1, 2, and 3. So it should be pretty easy for us, and I'm going to go ahead and hop right into this task description, and we should be ready to go. So you have gained access to the internal network of Wind Corp, the multi-billion-dollar company running an extensive social media campaign claiming to be unhackable, which is the #1 way to have every hacker at your doorstep and some free publicity. With that, the next step would be to take their crown jewels and get full access to their internal network. You have spotted a new Windows machine that may lead you to your end goal. Can you conquer this end boss and own their internal network? Happy hacking. So we'll go ahead and copy this IP address, and we'll get an nmap scan going. So what we can do is we can do nmap sc for default scripts, sv for enumerate all versions, and then we'll output that to an nmap directory and call it openports.txt and supply that IP address. However, I have already ran that, so what we can do is just cat that information out, and we get this laundry list of ports open. And this was a little intimidating for me. So what I did was just started from the top and went down. So we can just go ahead and go straight to the home page for Wind Corporation, which is on port 80. And this is it. So we get we have a pretty interesting button here for reset password. If we attempt to click that, we know that that is going to fail for us now. So we'll look into that in just a second. We have a search bar here that doesn't do anything. We have some information about Wind Corporation. We have a IT support staff list of all of the members who keep Wind Corporation completely unhackable, and some more information about Wind Corporation, and then some reviews from their wonderful employees, which we'll come back to in just a moment. So in order to get this reset password button working here, because we can only assume that this is going to be our initial foothold, is we see that in the port scan we have domain here. We can also find that through the inspection element, and we can just refresh, and we'll see that fire.windcorp.thm is being listed here. We also see that request right here as well. So what we'll do is we can edit our host file in order to add that and get some functionality through that reset password button. So let's go ahead and pull that up. And I'm going to go ahead and add that IP address, and I'm going to do both windcorp.thm and fire.windcorp.thm, and we'll save that, and I'm going to cat that out to make sure it's good, and we should be good now. So what I'll do is, this is probably cached as not working, so what I'll do is I'll just open up a private window, go to the IP address again, and open up that reset password. And we see that we just need to supply the username, and then we need to answer a security question, one of these 4 security questions, I'm sorry. And if we go back to the employee reviews, one particularly sticks out that says, "I love being able to bring my best friend to work with me," from Lily here. And we can only assume that that best friend is this doggo here. And what we can now do is inspect the element, go to the image name, and we see that the image is called Lilyle and Sparky. So we can only assume also that her username is Lilyle and her favorite pet name is Sparky. So if we give that a shot, we can potentially reset that username. So let's go ahead and put that in. Do Lilyle, and then change the security question to what is your favorite pet's name, and that's Sparky. And now we have reset the password to what you see here, and we can copy that and get a creds.txt file going. So I'll exit that and start a creds.txt. And as you can see, it is now there. So we can go ahead and cancel this. And now we can use that to further enumerate something like SMB. What I used was SMB map to do a recursive search to just show me literally everything I could all the shares plus all the files and folders in those shares. And so what we can do is we can do smb map -u, which is lil, and then the password, which I've saved to my clipboard. And then we just do -h, capital H, instead of -r. We're not going to do a recursive search because it takes a while. And we'll just do -h so that we can just list all the shares that are on the machine. And that should work for us. And just tell us what we have access to and what we don't have access to. And as we can see, we have 5 shares that we have the ability to read from. And we have 2 that we don't have, which is just C and admin, which are just default shares. 2 most interesting ones are going to be shared in users. So what we'll do is we can use SMB client and then --windcorp.thm, and then we'll go into shared, and we'll supply the username, which is going to be lil again, and the password as well. That should be good. And it is. So we can list the contents here, and we find flag1.txt, so we can go ahead and not type it out. We can actually get flag1.txt. And we also see a potential application to download as well. What I'll do is I'll just get the Spark, and instead of typing that, because I'm not doing too well with typing today, I'll go ahead and just copy that in, and we'll go ahead and get the dev package here. Hopefully we get it today and not tomorrow if it goes through. I hope it hasn't failed on me. Let's see. Give it a few more seconds here before I cancel out. I do already have it installed, so we should be good. I just wanted to install it, or actually pull it back down to have it for us if we needed it. Let's see, it's returned timeout. Let's see, let's cancel that. Go back in there real quick and do a git once more. IP address show. VPN is definitely still up, so we're good there. There it goes. Okay, so it downloaded there. So we can go ahead and exit now. And if we list the contents in our directory now, we have the flag, and we also have the Spark file that we just downloaded. What you could do with that is you could do something like dpkg-i and then just download Spark. I have already done that, so I don't need that. I just wanted to, just show you how the method that I use. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that from the directory, and I'm actually gonna move flag over to flag1.txt. And what we can do is we can cat that out, flag1.txt, and just cat a few bits of those characters. And we see that that is, in fact, one of the flags for this room, which is actually flag1. So we can clear that out, create a directory called flags, and move flag1 into flags. And now what we'll do is run Spark. So we'll go ahead and get Spark going, see what that's about. And we see that is an instant messenger, and we need to go ahead and log in. So if we attempt to log in straight from here with the password that we reset to, we get this error here that says unable to verify certificate. And if you do some looking around in advance, we can see that we can disable the certificate hostname verification, which is not recommended, which just means everything that we want to happen. And we'll also accept all certificates. Once we do that, we should be able to log in. And as you can see, we are now logged in as Lily. Now, if we do help, we kind of already know what the version number is because it's in the installation package that we downloaded. It's 2.8.3. So what we could do is get some information on Spark 2.8.3. So we'll do Spark. I'm still in that private browser, so what I'm going to do is exit that. Just go back to this here, and we'll do Spark 2.8.3 exploits. And the first one we see is a 2020 exploit here, CVE exploit. And what we'll do is I'm going to copy that and go over to Attacker KB. And if you're not aware of Attacker KB, that is actually a walkthrough room on TryHackMe. And there's also a challenge room that you can use with it as well called Source. I believe it's called Source. So we'll go ahead and input that CVE here, which I don't know why it added that as well. And we'll search it, and we find this CVE that was disclosed in May of 2020. And we get some description of what that is. It's an issue discovered in Ignite Real-Time Spark. A chat message can include an image element with a source attribute referencing an external host IP address, or it could be our VPN address in this case. Upon access to this external host, The NTLM hashes of the user are sent with the HTTP request. This allows an attacker to collect these hashes, crack them, and potentially compromise the computer. I almost lost it there. So what we need to do is we need to send somebody a chat message with an image element with a source attribute referencing our IP address for the TryHackMe VPN. But we haven't looked who we need to send that to. However, if we go back to the Wind Corporation homepage, we now see after adding the domains to our host file, we get an idea of who's online and who's away. Now the away status changes between some support staff members, as I noticed moving through the box. So the only person who happens to be online the whole time is Buse here. Buse is actually the only reason that this company can even say that they're unhackable, because they don't sleep. So what we can do now is we can follow through with this exploitation that we discovered on the CVE. So what we'll do is add a contact. We'll add Buse here. And once we add Buse, it should say it's pending here, but we can actually just go ahead and send them a message. And as you can see, I've already sent them a message a few times. But we're going to need to send that message again. So what I'll do is I'll copy that because that's exactly what the exploit is going to be. It's going to be a chat message that includes an image element with a source attribute referencing an external host IP address. So we also need a few things here. We also need to get responder going, because we're going to need to be able to accept that request and get that NTLM hash. So we'll do responder and then responder.py and then dash capital I, because we want to tell it what interface to go on, and that's ton0, which is our VPN. And it may be something different for you, but mine is in fact ton0. And as you can see, that is the IP address for my VPN. So now if I send this over to Buse here, who is again always online because he is constantly working, I should get their hash, as I do. And what we can do is we can copy that and put that into a file. We'll go ahead and cancel that. We don't need Spark anymore. I can put this into a hash file, so we'll just nano hash.txt, and we can now use something like hashcat in order to crack this NTLM hash. And if you don't know which mode you need to put it in, you just go to hashcat examples here, and we'll do example hashes for hashcat, and we'll search for NTLM v2, and we find that it's going to be 5600. So we can now just do hashcat-a0-m 5600 hash.txt, and then we'll use the wordlist rocku, wordlist rocku.txt, and then we're also going to have to force, and it should crack this hash pretty quickly for us. And it has. So now we have the password for Buse here, so that's great. So we can go ahead and copy that and add to our creds.txt file. I'm going to go ahead and copy that and clear this out. And I'm going to go and edit our creds.txt, and we're going to add Buse with his password as well. And so now I can go ahead and save that, exit, and we should be good. Now that we have Buse's password, you can attempt to go to something like OpenFire's administration login page, or actually that's not there. It's going to be on port, I believe it's 90. Is it 9090? Yep, there it is. So we can attempt to log in as Buse here. If we try to log in, it just gets a login failure. So nothing too good there. I'm almost certain I was able to log into this last time. I could be wrong though. No issue there. When I was in the administration console, which I think I wasn't able to do too much, and that's probably just a lack of knowledge on my side. However, we don't need to do that. What we can do is we can do evil-winrm, and we can do the username, or supply the username with -u as Buse, and then the password with the -p, and then supply that. And we're also going to need to do is it capital I think? windcorp.thm. I think it's capital I, could be wrong. It is just lowercase I. I think I got that mixed up with responder. So if we do that, we should be able to drop in through evil-winrm, and as you can see, that is the case. So we can cd over to the desktop, and if we list the contents there, we find flag2.txt is there, so we could essentially just type that out. However, I'm not going to do that because I do not want to spoil the flags there, and we can move forward with getting some privilege escalation. So now that we know we have access as Buse, what we could do from here is we can do something like we could get a HTTP server going, and move WinPs over and run that so it can do some enumeration for us, and we could eventually find our way to Prevesc. However, in order to save some time, I'm just going to go ahead and go straight to the root of C here. And then once we get there, if I list the contents here, we see an uncommon file folder which is called scripts. So if we just cd into scripts and list the contents there, we see two files. We have a log.txt and a PowerShell script. And if we just do type log.txt, we see that there is a last run date, which we can only assume is for this PowerShell script here. And if we do a type check servers.ps1, we get a PowerShell script that's what we can essentially say is it's almost running like it's almost running like a cron job on Linux, where this this PowerShell script is being ran every few I think it's like every few seconds or a minute or so, and if we read through it, we see that it's accessing Brittany CR's user folder and getting the host.txt file and invoking the expression, which is basically just running the command. So we pretty much get an idea of what we need to do. We need to get this host.txt file, and we need to edit it so that administrator can run whatever command we put in that host.txt file. So what we'll do is we need to get into the Brittany CR's user folder. So if we try to go over to cd users Brittany CR and list the contents there, we are going to get a permission denied. So now we need to figure out how we're going to get into Brittany's user folder in order to edit that host file. So what we can do is just do some standard stuff. We can do who am I groups, and we see that Buse is actually a member of account operators. And if you do some searching on account operators, you find out that you're able to change passwords for other users. And what better way to do that than to use something like net? So we can do net user Brittany CR, and then if we try to do something like password, and then I believe if I'm not mistaken, it's domain, we get the error here that the password does not meet the password policy requirement. So that's pretty interesting. So we need to make the password a little bit better than just password. So what I'll do is deep is cool, which is a great friend who went through this box with me. So we'll do that. And now, as you can see, the command has completed successfully. So what I'll do is jump over to the this old window here that we were using for responder, and I'm going to cd over to our raw directory, clear that out. And now what I can do is SMB into the users share that had that we saw earlier when we were enumerating with SMB map, and do windcorp.thm users, and this time we're going to use Brittany CR, and then the password is what we just put in, which is deep is cool 1234. And now we are in as Brittany. So what we can do is we can cd as into Brittany's user folder, and if we list, we find the host.txt file, and we can go ahead and get that and edit it. So now that we have that, I'm gonna jump out, and we can look at what is already in there, and we see it's just google.com and cisco.com. And since administrator is going to be running this, we could pretty much just do the same thing. In this case, we just do we could add a user with net, and then we can add them to the administrator's group. So what we'll do is do net. Let's see, what is local group? What is net local group? I always forget. Net local group add user. Is it net local group administrators? Net local group name username add. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do net, and then it's, well, I need to create the user first. I would assume we would want to create the user first, and so what I'll do is net user, and we'll do we'll make deep a user and do sev is cool 1234, because we're going to need to meet that password complexity, and we'll do add, and then we'll create another line to run, which is going to be net local group administrators, and then deep add, I believe that's right. Yes, correct. Okay, so with that done, we can go ahead and save that. I'm just going to look that over one more time. So we have we're going to first create the user deep, and then we're going to set the password to sev is cool 1234 with an exclamation point, and then it's going to add deep to the administrators group if I spell it right, which I'm glad I looked at that. So we have everything right now, administrators. That is perfect. So we can go ahead and save that, exit, and then we can go back into Brittany CR's user in the users share and cd back into that. And then we can just put the host.txt file there. So we can see that we just recently edited it, so we should be good. So we can jump back over to views here, the evil-winrm shell that we had, and go back to the scripts folder. And we'll just go ahead and do a type log.txt. And it looks like it changed at 10:38, so we'll give it a second here, and we'll see if it updates here shortly. And we'll come back when it does. Alright, so it has updated now, so we should be good to go. Now if we go over to a new tab here and we try to do something like evil-winrm, we do -u is deep, and the password is going to be, is it sev is cool or sevel is cool? Let's back out of this and cat host.txt, it's sev is cool. So I'm just gonna actually just copy this whole thing right here and paste it, and then we have to do -i, which is gonna be windcorp.thm. This should go ahead and put us in there as deep, since we have just added it to the administrators group. So if we were to cd out and then into administrators, let's see, cd, maybe I did it a little wrong, cd administrators, did I spell it wrong? I didn't, maybe I just didn't go back far enough. So we should be able to go into administrators now. Oh, I put an S instead of just administrator. So if we cd into administrator, kind of scared me for a moment, and we should be able to go to their desktop, list the contents, and we see flag3.txt, which means that we could pretty much just cat that out basically to the screen, and we would be able to then complete the room. I got so happy to be finished that I started losing track of my words. And if you didn't want to do that, you could always just do something like we could RDP into the box, since that was open. The IP address was here, so we could do this and accept the certificate, and the username is deep. When you spell it right, it looks like that. And then sev is cool, which I will copy again, because I don't trust myself. And then is it just Wind Corp, I believe? Windcorp.thm, and save. That should allow us to get through, and we could just RDP into the machine as well. And we can add a happy file onto their domain. Oh, wrong place. And we'll save that to the desktop. Actually, we'll save that to the administrator's desktop. We'll go to C, users, administrator. Yes, we have permissions. But as you can see, we have essentially rooted this entire box because we have the ability to do so. And I'll just go ahead and put that for you. And now we save that to the administrator's desktop. So we are good to go. We have rooted this machine and obtained all the flags, and there's nothing left for us to do. They're obviously pretty hackable, and the publicity is over, and they have to go back to the drawing boards, and Views has to, pull a few more all-nighters before they can make the claim of being unhackable again. So I certainly appreciate you watching this video. And I hope you all have a great day. Hopefully I can bring Raw 2 if I'm able to complete it. I know it's probably going to be just as challenging as this one. So hopefully I can power through and bring that one to you next. However, you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.